I just think Mike is totally prepared for this. I know he really looked forward to going into his first spring training as a major league manager. He's managed 17 years in the minors. He spent a long time as a coach on a major league staff. But there are very specific ways that he likes to do things. He throws BP, he hits fungos. I mean, he's very hands-on, and you know, he's a very youthful 54. I think that he's a big asset to this club. He totally deserved this job. He earned it the way he managed and the way the team played in the final 37 games of last season. Well, I think the pitching has a chance to be really, really good and a big strength of this club. Ryan Dempster, Randy Wells, Carlos Zambrano have all looked really good in terms of the starting pitching. Matt Garza's kind of slowly come along, but I think probably will take up 200 innings and has top of the rotation stuff. And Andrew Cashner is a very intriguing guy, throwing in the mid-90s as the fifth starter. Bringing in Kerry Wood to pitch in the 8th inning allowed the Cubs to move Cashner to the rotation, along with Sean Marshall setting up for Carlos Marmol. I just really like this pitching staff. I think it's two parts. The most important part is that he's going to help this team by the way he pitches, and being that bridge guy from either the starter or the middle relievers to Carlos Marmol. But his influence in the clubhouse, he's always been a great clubhouse leader. The way he can help an Andrew Cashner, another hard-throwing right-hander from Texas. He can help Carlos Marmol because Kerry was an all-star closer with the Cubs a few years ago. So that part of it is huge, but I think the main thing is that he's here to help this team win. And hopefully he can stay healthy the whole year. That's been an issue for him over his career, but so far so good. He's had a really good spring. And I thought this going into spring training is, can this team score enough runs? They finished in the bottom half of the National League in run scoring last year. Defensively, it was not a very good club last year, and it's a pretty similar looking team this year. Although I like what Castro has done at short, I think he'll get better defensively. And Carlos Pena, you know, is in Derek Lee's category in terms of defensive first baseman. So that part I like, but you're going to have to score some runs to win ball games, and that's, I guess, my biggest concern going into the season is seeing guys getting back to what they were maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I think number 1 is health. If they stay generally healthy, that's a huge plus. Number 2, the guys who make the big bucks, and some guys who either had off years last year or just okay years need to have really good years. And I don't think there's any secret as to who those guys are. Carlos Zambrano finished the season in great shape, but he needs to pick it up right where he left off at the end of last season. Aramis Ramirez had a really bad first half, was better in the second half, but we're used to seeing a lot more from him as a Chicago Cub. Alfonso Soriano, I thought he had a decent year last year, and defensively got better as the season went along. You need to keep him healthy and keep him in the middle of that lineup. Carlos Pena hit under 200 last year, but he does take walks, he does hit home runs. You know, I'm not expecting him to hit 270, but even if he's in the 220s, 230s, and he walks 80 to 100 times and hits 35 home runs, that will really help this ball club. And then you have the young guys. Castro in his sophomore year, hopefully you don't see that slump. Darwin Barney's going to push for playing time at second base. You know, can Marlon Byrd do what he did last year? I think he can. And Giovanni Soto had an excellent year. So you kind of need contributions all across the board. And if the Cubs get that, I think they're going to be in good shape.